Hear people talk about warm and cool colours and referencing the colour wheel, and you look everywhere on the colour wheel and there are a few bits about it. Advancing colours, red, oranges and yellows, and cool receding colours, greens, blues and violets. What they don't tell you on there is that your warm colours can be cool and your cool colours can be warm. What's that all about? Let's find out. Have you heard about colour temperature? Why does it matter? Well, it can really help you with distance in your paintings, making things look a little bit more 3D and helping things stand out. What makes a colour cool or warm? This is a really difficult subject to get your head around, but it makes sense when you start thinking it through and picking up your paints. So over here I've got some swatches which you'll have seen on the previous video. I've got a cool red, cool yellow, cool blue, warm blue. I've swatched out these blues down here from old paint I had in my palette, just so I could find out what on earth was in the palette. But in doing so, you can see the range of blues there and how some of them are warm and this collection here are all cool. What does that mean? So if we start with the blues, on the colour wheel, start with your main primary, which is blue. So a blue could be a warm blue, which is heading towards red, which is the warm side of the colour wheel. Red is warmer than yellow. A blue that heads towards yellow is going to go to green on its way. And by that nature, the yellow and the green are cooler than the red over here. So if you have a blue that has a slight pink tinge to it, which is quite often how you describe ultramarine blue, a very, very common blue, you are going this way round the colour wheel. So don't take these shades to be exactly the right hue, they're not. It's just a guide. But your ultramarine blue would sit somewhere here, on its way round to red. That's why if you mix ultramarine blue with a crimson, you make a lovely purple or violet, which is in between the two. Makes a really good one. If you have your blue heading towards the yellow, it will have a bluey green tinge to it, like these here. That also includes all the turquoises, etc. Therefore, any blue that has a slight green tinge to it is known as a cool blue, because it's nearer to yellow than it is to red. Red is closer to the blue violets, ultramarine, etc. So let's move on to reds. How can red be cool? I hear you ask. This is what I asked too. Let's just have a look at the warm red. Warm red, you could argue, is this one, a red-orange. This is actually a cadmium red. So cadmium red, if you think about it as a poppy or something in the UK like a postbox, a bright, vivid red that you're going to see. Warm red is nearer yellow, which in this instance is warmer than blue, which is your other primary. So if your red moves around towards yellow, it has a slight orange tinge. This one definitely has. It is a warm red. If your red moves back towards blue, so in this sort of area, red-violet, which is alizarin crimson in this instance, it becomes a cooler red. So if all your red roses in your painting were this colour, they'd all be jumping out the picture at once. But if the red roses in your picture are a cool red, such as crimson, it will make them appear to be in the background or in shadow, therefore allowing the warm roses to shine really, really brightly out of your painting, where these ones will be a little bit more subdued in the background. Go back to yellow now. You're probably getting the idea of this. You can clearly see that these two yellows very well match these yellows on this particular printed colour wheel. And again, it's not a guide for your colours, it's just a guide to help you think about the colours. This one you can see is here, this one is here. This is the cool yellow, and the way I remember cool yellows is they look like a lemon, and the warm yellow has moved around to this yellow orange colour. This is cadmium yellow, this is lemon yellow. As I've said on the previous videos, names on tubes mean nothing, it's the pigments that count. But even between manufacturers, the pigments are put together in a different way, so the name doesn't mean much. But you swatch out your colours, you can tell whether your yellow is cool, and by cool it's nearer to blue than this one, which is a yellow orange, which is nearer to red, therefore it's a warmer yellow. This colour in its subdued form is also something like raw sienna, etc. Because it's a orange, yellow orange, included in yellow orange could be Naples yellow, yellow ochre, raw sienna, etc. They are warm yellows, they're almost orange. Because some of them are ochres and siennas, they are nicely muted ones. They're not as bright as the cadmium yellow. So your warm yellow would describe something in the foreground. The cool yellow could describe something further back. For instance, if you were doing a field of sunflowers or daffodils, you would use these in the foreground, and as the flowers fade into this distance, you would make them cooler, because in the distance they wouldn't be quite such a strong punchy yellow orange. So just going back to the blue once more, blue for me was the hardest one to get my head round, because blue is clearly the coolest colour. It's the colour of water and sky, and it's right on the opposite side of red and yellow. So how can blue be warm? It's ridiculous, it doesn't make sense. Well, again, the same thing applies. We did look at it before, but this blue and this blue are nearer to red than these blues here, which are nearer to yellow. And yellow is cooler than red. So it's as simple as that. It's just a way of looking at colours as a painter, not for necessarily any other reason than that, but it will help you to choose a cool colour rather than a warm colour. So your blues, your turquoises are cool, and the confusion for me, if I'm telling you how I used to see this, is turquoise reminds me of tropical beaches. Not that I've been to a tropical beach for a very, very long time, but therefore a tropical beach is warm, and that was what confused me. But it's not about the place that you see these colours, it's about where they sit on the colour wheel, and that blue is nearer to yellow, which is cooler than red. I hope that makes sense. Please do drop a comment if it doesn't, so I can try and explain it a bit clearer. So we've looked at the blues. Let's get my paint palette out again. Everything's dry. I'm trying to work out whether this is a cool or a warm. What sort of colours have I got in here? The only way to find out is to get them down and out. So I'm going to start with the yellow. You'll soon get experienced enough to know that you already can see, you know this, you can see it's a lemony yellow. Doesn't have to be exactly lemon yellow, it could be all sorts of different colours, all sorts of different names for a very similar cool yellow. And you think, well, yellows are all the same, aren't they? No, as you know, being artists, you know absolutely they're not. As soon as I put this one down and start swatching it out, you can really see the difference, can't you, between that one and the first one. Although in the palette it looks pretty yellow, when you put it out, it suddenly seems to have this magical orange effect. So it's a really warm yellow. I'm just going to pick up some raw sienna to show you how that is in this group, not in that group. So a raw sienna colour, very much a warm yellow and bordering on orange really. So let's have a look at the reds. So again, some colours are easy. That's a bright red in my palette. I'm pretty sure I know that's a warm red. So I swatch it on, and of course it is. Some colours are so easy to spot, you won't have any difficulty deciding before you paint whether you've got the right colour for your poppies. Other colours could be hidden, dark, difficult, and crimson is one of those. If you mix crimson with other colours, you can make some amazing darks. You really can. Crimson makes a fabulous dark. You can see as it's washing out there, it's just slightly mixed with my cadmium, but got some nice effects going on there. Swatching should be fun, and I'm not using watercolour paper here, just so you know. I'm just using a mixed media pad, an inexpensive one, just to show you you can still get some nice effects and not waste your expensive watercolour paper. So cool red because it's towards the violet, warm red because it's towards the yellow, cool yellow because it's towards the blue, warm yellow because it's towards the red, cool blue because it's towards the yellow, and warm blue because it's towards the red. Very confusing, isn't it? Top tip, buy yourself a colour wheel. Next top tip, paint your own. And I'll pop a link into the video where I've done this for you, and you can paint along if you find that easier. Hope that helped. Maybe you can swatch out your own colours and see if you can decide if they're warm or cool. I hope you found that useful. So get your trusty colour wheel out, paint your own colour wheel if you can. It's worth the effort because you start to understand how you move colours around the colour wheel to make them warmer or cooler. We'll more of that on another video. I hope you enjoyed that. Have a good time trying it out and see if you can match all the colours in your palette to whether they're warm or cool. Let me know how you got on. Take care, happy painting, see you on the next video. Bye for now.